You know, I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
Welcome back to the Buzzer Update. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today, I've got another exciting and highly interesting video for you. And if you're a true Caitlin Clark fan, you're definitely going to want to watch this one until the very end. Before we get started, let me know you're part of the Buzzer Update army by commenting CC 100% below. I love seeing all the amazing Clark fans in the comments. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into today's video. Michael Jordan didn't simply approach the microphone. He was in control of the situation. What started off as a straightforward homage swiftly evolved into one of the most memorable statements in modern basketball history. Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark were astounded, not simply honored. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. Jordan described their influence in a clear, concise voice that nobody could have predicted. This video has nothing to do with former glories. It was about who is now carrying the game and its future. What precisely did he say then? Fasten your seatbelt. Applause is not as powerful as this moment. Michael Jordan rarely discusses women's basketball in public, but he did mention their names, particularly when he's not on the court. His words are often measured, restrained, and kept for important occasions. Thus, the impact was instantaneous when he recently made an honest remark regarding Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark without a script or limelight. He quietly acknowledged two women who are redefining brilliance in today's game without the need for a stage or press announcement. Not only did he speak, but what he said was particularly noteworthy. The name Caitlin Clark is already well known. Long-standing WNBA records have been broken by her debut season. The number of attendees has increased. Ratings on television are skyrocketing. Jordan, however, ignored all of that. He looked beyond the surface and characterized her style as something to be observed rather than coached. He said he wasn't particularly impressed by her shot choice or stat line. It was her being there. She is in control of the situation. He said some players need time to warm up to the spotlight. She was already on fire when she entered. For a long time, Clark's game has been compared to the top players in the industry, both male and female. She is a fan favorite because of her incredible court vision and boundless range. However, Jordan's remarks provided it with a different type of validation, a recognition rather than a comparison. She wasn't the future of women's basketball. In his opinion, she was the ultimate basketball present. Then, almost without warning, he shifted the topic to Sophie Cunningham. Jordan was clear. Even if Sophie might not get the same amount of media attention, her influence is equally important. He referred to her as a storm in sneakers, a player who transforms the game each time she takes the court rather than chasing attention. He emphasized her tenacity, her unwillingness to give up, and her capacity to immerse herself in roles that most people would be reluctant to attempt. He said she plays like it's personal, and that's what sets players apart from rivals in this game. It meant more than just recognition from someone like Jordan, whose legacy was built on converting rivalry into obsession. Sophie was not receiving accolades for her notoriety or popularity. The fire that burns beneath every screen, rebound, and defensive stop was being recognized. This was not a publicity gimmick. It has nothing to do with promoting a campaign or establishing a brand. From a legend who has witnessed the game from every perspective, it was an authentic moment. He saw more than simply skill in Clark and Cunningham. It was an indication basketball's future is far off. It's here already. Jordan sliced through years of discourse on women's visibility in sports with a few well-chosen statements. He accomplished what full-page endorsements frequently fail to do without a single camera rolling. People could sense the change because of him. And the entire court pays attention when a voice like his speaks, no matter how gently. Was Jordan's unanticipated act merely encouragement or the beginning of something much more significant? Keep an eye out since everyone was surprised by what happened next. When brilliance sees its reflection, the legends weigh in. Larry Bird, a man who seldom gives public praise, especially when it's uncalled for, gave one of the most surprising yet insightful answers. Bird, who is renowned for his quiet manner and keen sense of genuine talent, didn't simply bring up Clark. He spoke of her in the same breath as the basketball that molded his early years. Bird almost casually admitted that he watched more Iowa Hawkeyes games than he had intended during the 2023 to 2024 season, drawing comparisons between Caitlin Clark's play and his own time at Indiana State. That wasn't simply sentimentality. It was reverence for a man whose legacy was founded on accuracy, perseverance, and unparalleled basketball intelligence. Bird conveyed a clear message with a modest yet effective nod. It wasn't just women's collegiate basketball that Clark was dominating. She was redefining the entire sport. However, Bird wasn't by himself. The increasing chorus was joined by the voice of another tall figure, both literally and figuratively. Long admired for his devotion to LSU and Angel Reese, Shaquille O'Neal provided an unexpected change of viewpoint. Shaq, who was initially perceived as supporting Clark's most formidable opponent, shocked viewers during a broadcast by pausing to admit what many had previously guessed. He had fallen in love with Caitlin Clark. He was not offering his opinions as a critic or commentator. As a fan, he was speaking. He said, "I'm not Shaq right now. I'm a fan." The tone for what came next was established by that straightforward statement. He acknowledged that he didn't think Clark's TV persona could match her on-court achievements. But there was no space for dispute after what he witnessed himself. Her leadership, her vision, and her judgment. She wasn't merely displaying figures. Every time she was making the right plays. Hearing that from one of the most powerful players in NBA history, a player who switched to the center position and used intimidation to win 4 titles, was a revelation as well as a confirmation. However, the fact that this moment isn't occurring in a vacuum adds to its significance. While all is going on, Sophie Cunningham is receiving recognition for something equally important but less glamorous: toughness, hustle, and consistency. Sophie's perseverance wins the kudos behind the scenes, but Clark's genius steals the show. Jordan personally emphasized kindness. Both Bird and Shaq are familiar with the kind from their own experiences. The sport's most recognizable personalities are being forced to reconsider what excellence looks like in the modern era. As these two women forge distinct but complementary pathways in the league, advice is all the more significant because advice comes from luminaries who understand exactly what it takes to lead a team or even a league. And when the spotlight grew more intense, did the plays or the people who appeared when it mattered most tell the true story? Don't blink, because everything will change in the next moment. Why Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark are the favorites of legends. Conversations are changing across arenas. It's not because of the buzz, but rather because Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark are bringing something unique to the basketball world. What it means to lead, compete, and raise an entire league is being redefined by two women with radically different styles. For all the differences between them, Clark has her quick break, flair, and showy range. Sophie with her experienced grit and bruising intensity. Basketball legends are drawn to them for reasons other than their stats. It has substance. Tyrese Halliburton notices it. The guard for the Indiana Pacers, who is well-versed in carrying out a city's dreams, refers to Caitlin as a peer rather than a fan. He expressed admiration, saying, "Just 2 point guards trying to lead." It wasn't a pointless gesture. He acknowledges the burden she bears in Indiana, attends her games, and openly supports her. Her arrival has created a buzz in a franchise that is still in the process of rebuilding. He respects more than simply her abilities. He is aware of the pressure she is experiencing across generations. That is what leadership looks like. However, this gravitational attraction extends beyond teammates and supporters. It has an impact on free agency. According to sports analyst Jason Whitlock, people want to play with Caitlin Clark. That one sentence cuts right through the clutter. Clark is now the draw in a league where chemistry is key and rosters change frequently. These days, market size and marketing budgets are irrelevant. It has to do with culture. Coworkers desire guidance, discipline, and trust. All three are delivered by Clark. Clark isn't the only one who is attracting attention. After being traded to Indiana in 2025, Sophie Cunningham didn't fit in. She arrived to alter the rhythm. Sophie is the steal of the future if Clark is its face. Flash has never been a part of her journey from Columbia to Phoenix, and now Indiana. Force has been a factor. Although she doesn't score 30 points every night, she has the ability to rally a locker room, take charge, and make a clutch 3. Her energy is infectious and her defense is oppressive. Additionally, Sophie rushed across the court to defend Clark after she committed a hard foul during a heated game in June, without hesitation or apology. Drama wasn't the point of that moment. The message was at issue. Cunningham was protecting more than just a teammate. In Indiana, she was fighting for a new society based on solidarity and bravery. Her impact pulses through every possession in any Fever game. Even though the stat sheet might not fully convey her worth, without needing her name in lights, she is the one diving for loose balls, yelling out rotations, and changing momentum. Legends are paying attention because of this. They're not merely supporting WNBA players. They sense something more profound, which is why they are picking Clark and Cunningham. Unadulterated determination, genuine toughness, and a leadership style that endures under duress. This is no fleeting moment. It's a movement, one defined not simply by who scores, but by who commands respect when it counts. The defining moments of Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. For Caitlin Clark, one of those moments came not on the court, but in the form of a list she wasn't on. When the 2024 U.S. Olympic squad was named and her name was missing, the silence that followed spoke more than any news statement could. This was the player who had electrified college arenas, spiked viewing records, and propelled women's basketball into the mainstream debate, left off the largest stage in world sports. The disappointment rang loudly among fans, but Caitlin didn't add to the uproar. She didn't speak, she worked. That omission, intentional or not, handed Clark something rare: space. Free from the noise of Olympic coverage and global schedules, she returned to what she knew best: refining, training, reloading. There were no TV teams following her into the gym. No urgent reports about her next move, just sweat, just film study, just the sharp, silent rhythm of someone turning uncertainty into fuel. Observing from a distance, Dwight Howard described it as a challenge, and he didn't expect her to fold. He anticipated that she would change. In the meantime, criticism was circulating across the basketball community. Jeff Teague, a former NBA guard, didn't hold back. To him, the WNBA wasted a major opportunity, not just in leaving Clark off the Olympic squad, but also in failing to properly embrace the influence she was already having. He said they played this all wrong. The boost in attendance, the proliferation of merchandise, and the increase in ticket sales. Clark was more than just a gifted rookie. She was a movement's focal point. However, the treatment she got on the floor felt less like a welcome mat and more like a warning shot. And the behavior was intolerable to Hall of Famer Rick Barry, who had witnessed decades of hard fouls and physical altercations. He remarked, "It's personal," regarding the manner defenders were singling out Clark. Those statements held weight from a legend who once flourished in the most difficult period of basketball history. Clark, however, did not voice any complaints. She took in every bump, cheap shot, and cold shoulder, responding with execution rather than interviews. There was a quiet revolt going on. Sophie Cunningham, however, was the storm itself, while Caitlin was the calm in the midst. Sophie didn't sidestep the problem as Indiana struggled with early season inconsistency. After a frustrating defeat in June 2025, she called it out. With her eyes ablaze and her voice steady, she stood at the platform. "Why don't we act consistently?" It wasn't a query. It was a challenge and a demand on herself, her coaches, and her teammates. There were no hollow promises associated with that type of fire. Sophie stepped up when Clark missed a preseason game, making the free throws that forced OT and contributed to the victory. Sophie didn't hold back when the Fever lost badly at home, shooting just 30% from the field. We owe the supporters. She didn't prepare her message. It was genuine. She was heard by the crew. Then she made her breakthrough versus Atlanta. She responded with her first double-double of the season. 16 points, 10 rebounds, with a cunning smile and the words, "It's about dang time." Her sense of comedy was tinged with accountability. She didn't play for statistics. She was playing for unity, accountability, and all of the supporters who remained seated at difficult moments. Not all of Cunningham's contributions came from the bench. She was establishing herself as the Fever's emotional compass. Sophie became more vocal when the changing room fell silent. She brought spark as the energy level dropped. Sophie was the one who stood closest to Clark when he was receiving criticism from both opponents and skeptics, safeguarding the team's momentum. If the world's perception of them was altered by that event, may Sophie Cunningham's subsequent experiences alter the power dynamics in women's basketball. Avoid blinking. You might be surprised by what happens next. Beneath the spotlight is the power shift. Clark did more than merely shatter records in a single season. The women's basketball industry was rewritten by her. Her debut season, which attracted over 1 million TV viewers for regular season games and packed arenas that had previously struggled to sell tickets, sparked a nationwide surge of attention after she was selected first overall by the Indiana Fever in 2024. However, Clark's appeal went well beyond her own court exploits. Her cultural significance and digital reach started bringing the WNBA into discussions it had previously been left out of. However, another power moved silently next to her among the commotion. Sophie Cunningham, a seasoned Phoenix Mercury player. In order to make a living, Cunningham has had to put up with the league's financial constraints, inconsistent exposure, and reliance on foreign contracts during the offseason. Her career covers times when viewing was a secondary concern and marketing budgets were meager. However, she now offers more than simply experience. It's a thorough comprehension of the real price of surviving in this league. When combined, Clark and Cunningham constitute a first for the WNBA. Growing influence meets a hard-won viewpoint. Their developing collaboration has drawn attention from sports insiders, as it may pave the way for more than simply one court victory. Their relationship suggests a concerted effort to bring about change, increased pay, safer working conditions, and ongoing career assistance. These dreams are not abstract. Cunningham has experienced these problems, and Clark now has the authority to address them. The league's business model has already been turned upside down by Clark's marketability, not just at home games, but throughout the league. Her presence increases ticket sales. Her social media following surpasses that of prominent male athletes, and she has generated extraordinary retail sales and sponsorships. Because of this, she has influence in the media, politics, and brand equity in addition to the hardwood. But the issue still stands. Would she use it to support the league's overall advancement, as well as her own platform? Veterans like Cunningham will be crucial if she succeeds. Although the younger generation may attract attention, the seasoned pros who have endured years of hardship are the ones who know what true reform looks like. Cunningham has long been a supporter of long-term change and has already been a powerful voice inside the Players Association. Together, these two represent more than just individual achievement. They might mark the beginning of a new era in which players, not simply the league, will determine the course of events. But was there more tension building beneath that hushed moment of wonder? One that could not be silenced by headlines or concealed by applause. To find out what actually happened, keep watching. The flames beneath the cheers. The presence of Caitlin Clark has turned into a spark. She's testing a system that was never meant to elevate someone like her this quickly. With every dribble and dagger three, not just because she's scoring at will, stretching defenses, and drawing viewership numbers that corporate sponsors can't ignore. She didn't move up the WNBA acceptance slow-building ladder. Michael Jordan was aware that she had detonated it. That's why it wasn't a rehashed compliment when he said she possessed that fire, the sort that frightens people. It served as a caution. He wasn't discussing failed tasks or terrified defenders. He was referring to the uneasiness of seeing the spotlight move, the silent dread concealed behind tight grins. Jordan was impressed by more than just her talent. He knew that she was presently in the middle of a storm. He saw Caitlin doing the same for a league that had long battled to find its mainstream moment, just as his own emergence had once changed the NBA's DNA. However, there is a price for that unmistakable brilliant fire. Not every person standing next to Caitlin wants to get sucked into her flames. Perhaps insecurity, perhaps jealousy, but this is for sure. It hasn't been a nice greeting. She has been the subject of needless hits disguised as aggressive defense, and players have questioned her resume and shrugged off her achievements. It's just a part of the game according to some. Others are more knowledgeable. It's Sophie Cunningham. The grind, being ignored, and taking elbows without the camera seeing are nothing new to her. However, she also has a deeper understanding of how harmful unbridled envy can be. For years, Sophie has witnessed this league crumble under duress, fighting for respect and resources. She's one of the only people who seem to understand it now that she's in Caitlin's orbit. This moment has the power to either shatter everything or create something more powerful. Sophie is unique in that she doesn't recoil. She has been present. The weight has been felt by her. She may not make the news as much as Caitlyn, but she is able to see behind the commotion when others perceive the attention as a threat. Sophie sees an opportunity to change everything from pay scales to primetime access when Clark draws. The friction is genuine, though. The league is becoming hotter even as TV ratings are soaring and courtside seats become in high demand. Magic Johnson recently made headlines when he likened Caitlyn's arrival to his own debut with Larry Bird. A moment of redemption, a turning point. It wasn't overstated. Some men's games now receive more viewers than they did in the past. The WNBA has never received sponsorship money before, but now it is pouring in. A whole new degree of visibility, national endorsements, and private aircraft. But Caitlyn is at the center of it all, and that's where the complexity arises. Even Steph Curry, another master of redefining basketball, intervened and praised Caitlyn's control of the court rather than the viral shots. He answered, "That's what makes her different." This comes from the player who changed the way the world perceives range. That was a powerful statement. So much weight, in fact, that fans are now speculating about the two shooters facing off in the future. Even if Clark has stayed quiet, the prospect is still there like static. However, nothing characterizes this era more than the current situation. The conversion of tension to motion. Sophie is emerging as the bridge while Caitlyn is becoming the face. While one steadies, the other ignites. Whether they are aware of it or not, they are collectively changing the fundamental direction of women's basketball, and the inquiries increase in volume along with their influence. Keep an eye out, since what's happening isn't just about the game. Is this growth being applauded or contested from within? It concerns who will be in charge of its future. Sophia's and Caitlyn's subdued resistance. Caitlyn Clark is changing the WNBA, not simply playing in it. Her highlights dominate timelines, her jersey tops charts, and her games sell out. But the tension rises along with her fame. Cheryl's swooping criticism, Diana Taurasi's cautions, and Cheryl Reeves's detached coolness all point to an underlying unease. For some, Clark is a symbol of opportunity. She represents unbalance to others. Nevertheless, Clark continues to appear unflappable, tenacious, and astute. Her performance speaks louder than any doubt. She makes wise choices, uplifts her teammates, and delivers when it counts. While playing with a calmness that endures under pressure, legends like Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan don't provide cheap support. They perceive things differently. Once devoted to Angel Ree, Shaq openly acknowledged it. Every time she makes the right play. However, Sophie Cunningham's voice is the one that stands firm next to Clark on the court. Sophie is not a subtle person. She talks unfiltered and plays with fire. She is aware of what it means to be unfairly evaluated. Caitlyn also witnesses the same fire being misinterpreted. Sophie refers to it as focus, but some call Clark entitled. She sees accuracy where others perceive haughtiness. Even when it puts her at odds with her peers, she hasn't been afraid to question the narrative. There is more to their relationship than just partnership. It's about collective disobedience. Sophie is aware of the pressure Clark bears, not only as a rookie, but also as the spokesperson for a league that has unexpectedly gained attention. After witnessing the criticism and the unfair treatment, she has made the decision to speak up. They are more than just rivals or teammates when they work together. They act as catalysts. Even though not everyone agrees with Clark, she is advancing the game. Additionally, Sophie is ensuring that performance, advancement, and a future that differs greatly from the past are not overshadowed by the cacophony. What do you think then? Are Sophie Cunningham and Caitlyn Clark advancing the league? Or are daring actions widening gaps? We want to know what you think about this. Remember to subscribe and like. Thanks for watching my video.